It certainly seems like Disney's had a rough time over the last several years, as many fans and, of course, shareholders will attest to. When it comes to all the different wings of their entertainment business, whether you're looking at Star Wars or Marvel or animation, whether it be Walt Disney Animation Studios or, of course, Pixar, at one point so highly respected, and it seemed like every single original movie they put out, it just did really well. It did well with the critics, it did well with the fans, it did well at the box office. That's no longer the case, and the reason we hear about, Frozen 3 and another Toy Story movie and all these different sequels to IPs people already love is because, quite frankly, all of their original stuff they've come out with over the last several years has tanked. And it looks like we have another one. Pixar's newest movie projected to tank at the box office. Now, certainly Disney has seen some big successes over the last year when it comes to Inside Out 2. Again, a sequel to a well-received movie from, 10 years ago. And of course, Moana 2, a sequel to a well-received movie. But when it comes to their original movies, they can't get it right. That's why they're announcing all these sequels. And Elio, which comes out in theaters in a few days, looks to be one of them. Elio tracking disastrous opening box office projections as Pixar faces one of its worst debuts ever. Now, this was at the end of May, beginning of June, when box office tracking first started coming out for Elio. And keep in mind, this is a movie that costs $300 million. That's the budget for this movie. A movie that was delayed about 6 months at one point, and then they even quietly delayed it because it was supposed to come out last week, and they did not want to compete with How to Train Your Dragon, so they shifted it back another week. It doesn't seem to be helping because a few weeks ago, the initial box office tracking was $35 to $45 million. Now, even that's gone down. Elio is on track to earn $27 to $34 million in its domestic box office opening weekend. Reported budget, $300 million, one of Pixar's worst openings ever. If it's on the low end of that, and look, these are just projections, they can go higher, they can go lower. If it's on the low end of that, we are talking about the worst opening weekend in history, and that's not even adjusting for inflation, right? Elemental just barely beat out Toy Story. Now, Elemental did have a good run after a horrible box office opening, but that wasn't enough to make its money back. It didn't even hit $500 million. That's a movie they spent $200 million on production budget and $100 million in marketing. That did not make its money back for them, despite an impressive run after a miserable start. Elio, if it's below that, it's below even Toy Story. Now, Toy Story 2 and A Bug's Life, the reason those are so small is because they had a very limited thing for the first weekend before it was a full release. Otherwise, those numbers would be much bigger as well. But we're talking about potentially the worst opening in the history of Pixar, not even adjusted for inflation when it comes to something like Elio. And the people I've heard, at least that I trust that have seen it, say this is like Wish all over again. And this is part of the problem when it does come to Disney. And quite frankly, from a business perspective, it makes sense for them to announce just, sequel after sequel after sequel to these properties that can make money for them because they can't create anything original anymore. Pixar, just like at Walt Disney Animation Studios, they got rid of all the people that got them to where they were. They got rid of all the talented people because they wanted to bring in a younger and more diverse group of talent so they could bring in different people. They tried to fix something that was not broken. And as a result, they forced out a lot of very talented people. We saw this all across Disney Animation, whether it be Pixar or whether it be Walt Disney Animation Studios. And the results, quite frankly, have been disastrous. Like I said, it used to be. It didn't matter if it was an original or a sequel. When you have something like Coco, Ratatouille, Cars, Monsters, Inc., WALL-E, right? These are things that they weren't sequels to anything. They were just new ideas that they were coming out with, original movies, and it seemed like they couldn't miss. But that's how it used to be. That's not how it is anymore. Disney's not creating any new IPs, which is why they're relying on the sequels, because they have no ability to create something original anymore. And it's one of the reasons that people have walked away. And now it looks like Elio is set to be another absolute disaster for Pixar. I mean, that budget is insane. If this was a normal Pixar movie budget, like 150, 200 million, even it would be a nightmare. $300 million on this thing? Good luck. There's a reason they moved from last weekend, and it doesn't seem like that's going to help them very much. What do you guys think about this news? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.